Continuing with our AK maintenance series, in this final video we'll be covering final reassembly. We'll begin by reassembling the forend. To do so, lightly secure the rear section of the gas tube in a vise, being careful not to crush it. Next, reinstall its metal retention clip into the forend. Then line up the furniture with the gas tube and rotate the furniture 90 degrees around the gas tube. With the furniture reinstalled, it can be placed back onto the top of the rifle, being sure the handguard retaining lever is at the 12 o'clock position. Once aligned, rotate the handguard retaining lever counterclockwise to secure it. Next, we'll reassemble the bolt. Start by placing the extractor spring into its cutout in the extractor, then place it into the bolt. Once oriented, depress the extractor with your thumb and insert its pin into place from its hole on the top of the bolt next to the triangular lug. Note that the orientation of this pin is critical, as it has an angled cut that retains the firing pin retaining pin. So when orienting the extractor pin, place the non-cut end in first and rotate the pin using pliers so that the cut in the pin is vertical. Once oriented, tap the pin into place and confirm that it's properly installed by inserting your punch in the firing pin retaining pin channel to make sure it passes freely. If not, remove the extractor pin and try again. Next up is the firing pin. To begin, orient the flat side of the firing pin so that it's facing the 3 o'clock position in relation to the bolt. Then insert your punch into the bottom hole. If the punch doesn't retain the firing pin, it isn't positioned correctly, and you'll need to try again. Once the firing pin is installed correctly, go ahead and install its pin by inserting it into the top of the triangular lug and tapping it into place using the nylon side of the hammer. Next, place the bolt into the front of the bolt carrier assembly and rotate the bolt counterclockwise until the triangular lug fully seats into its cutout in the bolt carrier assembly. Once in place, push the bolt fully forward. With the bolt carrier assembly fully reassembled, it can now be reinstalled into the receiver. To do so, insert the piston into the gas tube and slide it forward to align it with the cutouts in the rear of the receiver. Once aligned, press downward to override the spring tension of the hammer and slide the assembly forward. Now the recoil return guide can be reinstalled into the rear of the bolt carrier group and depressed to align it with the cutout at the rear of the receiver. Lastly, we'll reinstall the dust cover. Insert the front of the dust cover into the recess at the rear of the sight block. While pressing forward, lower the cover to overcome the spring tension of the recoil return guide. Once aligned, the recoil return guide button will snap into the cutout at the rear of the dust cover. This step can be more difficult on some AKs than others. Once you have everything together, perform a function and safety check to make sure that the gun cycles normally and that all safety devices are working properly. Then give the gun a final wipe down and the job is done. By following these simple tips, you'll be able to quickly and easily maintain your AK. Thanks for watching, and be sure to visit brownells.com today for more how-to articles and videos along with all the firearms accessories and tools.